Have you thought about buying a rental property and never got to it, or didn't know if it's advantageous to buy rental property or not? Or is this the right time to buy? Well, if you're thinking about it, stay tuned. I'm going to talk about the advantages of buying a rental property, whether you're buying in Anaheim Hills or Anaheim or any other area. The principles are the same. So let's get to it. Welcome to my channel. I'm Mike Patel with First Team Real Estate, and I sell homes and investment properties. And I've just bought my own property. So before I talk about the advantages of buying a rental property anywhere, but specifically in Anaheim Hills, I wanted to give you some stats about Anaheim Hills, and you may do the same thing in a different city where you are buying. So some of the things that I look for is what is the median home price sales in Anaheim Hills or any other city. But Anaheim Hills, the home price was $1 million in December 2021. The average rent for a house that includes condos and townhomes and homes is about $3,000 a month, and the living area is about 1,500 square feet, which is way more than the national average. The median home price of the national average is about $400,000, and Anaheim Hills is almost $1 million. The average household income in Anaheim Hills is $130,000, but the average household income nationwide on average is only $80,000. So this is a great area, and the better the price, the more the appreciation and more the depreciation. So those are some advantages. That's why it's important to know what city you are buying in. Also, as you may know, Anaheim Hills is part of Anaheim, and Anaheim last year averaged about 20 million visitors, especially because of Disneyland, which creates a lot of hospitality jobs and other jobs. So it's a good area where people want to come and buy and come and stay and rent. There's manufacturing places in Anaheim Hills area. There's warehouses, there's commercial properties, there's large school districts that employs a lot of people. So there's a lot of good employment. So when you're thinking about renting it out and people want to work close to their work, Anaheim Hills area and Anaheim in general is a good place to buy. So those are some of the things you want to keep in mind, although there's various other factors about finding a rental property. So let's talk about buying a rental property or income property. One of the advantages is that you are leveraging other people's money. So what happens is, let's say you buy stock and you have $100,000 and you buy stocks. But if you buy a property, let's say you buy something in Anaheim Hills area and you buy a $500,000 townhouse. Well, you don't need $500,000 to buy a townhouse. You only need 10% down or 5% down, or let's take 20% down, which is $100,000. So now you're taking $100,000, you're borrowing $400,000 from a lender or from a banker or any private entity, and you're getting $400,000 extra money, which is not your money, and you can buy $500,000. So the biggest advantage is you're buying more than you can afford right now in the sense purchase. So you're leveraging that extra $400,000, and you've heard this before, using other people's money, OPM, is the way to riches. And buying rental property or income property with a lower down payment or any down payment without paying all cash is a great way to do so. So let's talk about the next advantage. By the way, I'm not an attorney or a CPA. So if you are buying something or thinking about buying something, please consult your attorney or a CPA to get legal advice. There's always risk in buying, and there's always different tax consequences to each individual buyer. So what applies to me may not apply to you. So let's talk about tax advantages as one of the advantages. Obviously, when you buy a property and until you sell it, you don't have to pay any taxes. So you're deferring all the capital gains tax until you sell. The other advantage of buying a property is you have a lot of tax deductions. One of them is your depreciation. You can deduct your interest rates. You can deduct property taxes. If you have a property management company, you can deduct that. Any repairs and upkeeps, all that is deductible, which gives you tax write-off and tax savings in the long term while your property is appreciating. And talking about appreciating, the other advantage is when you buy a rental property or income property, and as your tenant is paying your mortgage, so you are using other people's money to pay your mortgage, smart move, you are also appreciating your property. And on average, or historically, properties increase an average of 3% per year. So let's say it's 2022 and you buy a property for $500,000. After 20 years, 30 years, that should appreciate to more than double or triple. Why would one not buy a rental property? As I mentioned to you, I just bought a property in December, knowing that the prices are high, but because of the good interest rate, I think it's a good investment. And over the years, I will have advantage of getting equity, getting tax advantages, and the property will appreciate, although some properties may go down few years here and there, but eventually they'll come up. So if you're buying for long term, you can't go wrong buying investment property. And what they say in real estate is you make money buying, not when selling. Another big advantage of buying rental property is that you can have positive cash flow. Now there's two things about positive cash flow. One is that let's say your mortgage payment is $3,000 a month. You bought a property, put 20% down, and you minimize your payments to let's say $3,000 a month. But you got such a good deal and you got good interest rate and your rent income is $3,200 a month. So now you have $200 positive cash flow, which is great. But the other thing that people look over or don't look into is that even though, let's say my mortgage payment is $3,000 a month in the property that I just bought, which I'm renting out, and my mortgage payment is also $3,000. So pretty much I'm breaking even, but on paper, I'm positive cash flow. So all those add up. At the end of the year, when I get quote a refund or tax deductions, I'm actually positive cash flow, even though it shows that I have a $3,000 mortgage payment and $3,000 income. So that's one way to look at it. That's why you need to talk to an attorney or an accountant to help you through it. But feel free to call me. I can sit down with you and also give you some basic information on how to get started. So let's get to the next point. By the way, I wanted to take a quick moment and thank you for watching my channel and specifically this video. If you are new to my channel or if you've seen my videos before, please subscribe and hit the like button. And if you want to share it, feel free to share. So the next point I wanted to talk about is when you invest in a property, you are putting a down payment. You probably saved it, which is good for you, and now you invested that. So it creates a forced retirement because every month you are paying your mortgage payment. So I'm sure that you are being wise about your spending. The other thing is it's a forced retirement. So every time you make a payment, although your tenant is making the payment, imagine after 20, 30 years when the property is paid off, let's say it's 2022 and then in 2042 you pay off your property, you're going to have rental income, a passive income, which is what we call a forced retirement. Because you bought 20 years ago, after 20 years when you retire or when you stop working, the $3,000 a month rent you're getting right now, hopefully it'll be $6,000 or $7,000 a month rent. So imagine you bought 2 or 3 properties right now, and after 20, 30 years you have 2 or 3 properties each making $5,000 a month income, and your property is paid off. You have $15,000 to $20,000 worth of rental income. You have your social security income. Hopefully you have some stocks. So that's a lot of money coming in because you started buying right now. So my word of quote advice, although it's not an advice, if you're going to buy real property or rental property, the earlier the better, because you want to start the clock now and pay it off earlier. Buy it wise. If you need to sit down, I'll be glad to talk to you and get you going and give you pointers and resources. My contact information is below. Thanks for watching.